Muhammad Mokaev's journey since parting ways with the UFC has been nothing short of remarkable, and it seems he's now setting his sights on a full-circle comeback. Once hailed as one of the brightest prospects in the flyweight division, Mokaev's release from the promotion last year came as a shock to many. The undefeated talent reportedly clashed with UFC officials over communication and personality differences, leading Dana White and his team to make the difficult decision to let him go. Yet rather than letting the setback derail his career, Mokaev has turned it into motivation. Competing under Brave Combat Federation, the 25-year-old has flourished, racking up wins and recently capturing the inaugural Brave Flyweight title in spectacular fashion. His championship victory came via a stunning head kick knockout just 8 seconds into the second round against Gerard Burns, a finish that sent shockwaves through the MMA community and reminded fans of why he was once considered one of the UFC's top young prospects. Now, fresh off that career-defining win, Mokaev is ready to make amends with the organization that gave him his first major platform. Speaking with Kamil Gadzhiev, the Dagestani-born British fighter revealed that he plans to personally meet Dana White and UFC executives later this month when the promotion makes its debut in Qatar on November 22nd. "I'm 100% sure I can convince Dana White to bring me back," Mokaev said. "It's just that my mistake was that from the very beginning, I didn't sit in the office, didn't communicate like I did, didn't know him as a person. Mick Maynard is the one who signed me, and he controls many fighters, but now I understand how important those relationships are." Interestingly, Mokaev noted that he's already been in contact with UFC matchmaker Mick Maynard and Chief Business Officer Hunter Campbell, both of whom reached out to congratulate him on his Brave title win. For The Punisher, that message of support may be the door reopening, one that he intends to walk through when he arrives in Qatar. "On the day of the fight, at 4 o'clock in the morning, they congratulated me and wished me good luck. After the fight, they messaged me again. Now I'm flying to Qatar. I think a casual conversation with Dana will put everything in its place." Despite how his exit played out, Mokaev maintains respect for Dana White and the UFC, even crediting them for helping him establish a name in the sport. While he admits that some of White's public comments were hurtful, he doesn't hold a grudge. "Something that's not true cannot come out like this and ruin somebody's reputation," he said in a previous interview. "The UFC helped me to build my brand, helped me to get on my feet. I didn't have a house, now I have everything. Just because of one thing they said in the media doesn't mean they're bad people." Mokaev's rise back to prominence in Brave CF has reignited fan interest in his potential UFC return. With his undefeated record intact and a world title now under his belt, his story has the makings of a redemption arc few fighters ever experience. As UFC Qatar draws closer, all eyes will be on whether Mokaev can successfully rebuild bridges with Dana White and the UFC brass and perhaps set the stage for a triumphant return to the octagon in 2026. If he does, it could mark one of the sport's most compelling comeback stories in recent memory. Chris Barnett's journey in the UFC has always been one defined by heart, charisma, and perseverance, but 2025 has proven to be one of the toughest chapters of his story yet. Known for his infectious energy and unorthodox style, Beast Boy captured the hearts of MMA fans worldwide when he delivered one of the most memorable knockouts in heavyweight history, a spinning head kick against Gian Villante at UFC 268 that instantly went viral. The celebration that followed, a joyful flip and dance inside Madison Square Garden, became symbolic of who Barnett is, a showman with an unbreakable spirit. Unfortunately, the last year has been far less kind to him. After enduring a string of disappointing performances, Barnett found himself among the latest round of UFC roster cuts. His recent losses, a first-round TKO defeat to Kennedy Nzechukwu and a unanimous decision loss to Hamdi Abdel-Wahab at UFC 321 on October 25, 2025, were compounded by an unfortunate wardrobe malfunction in the latter fight that quickly became a viral moment for all the wrong reasons. With a career record of 23-10, including a 2-4 run in the UFC, Barnett's release wasn't entirely unexpected from a competitive standpoint, but it still hit fans hard. Few fighters have brought as much fun and personality to the octagon as the 37-year-old whose walkouts, post-fight dances, and underdog spirit made him a cult favorite. Beyond the cage, Barnett's story has been marked by unimaginable tragedy. In 2022, he suffered the devastating loss of his wife, who passed away after a battle with cancer. The heavyweight later revealed that he had been faced with making critical medical decisions for her just 30 hours before his fight against Martin Buday. Despite that heartbreak, Barnett still chose to step into the octagon, a decision that won him the admiration of fans who understood the emotional weight he carried that night. Since then, Barnett has continued to embody resilience, using his platform to bring positivity to others, even while navigating personal and professional challenges. His release from the UFC marks the end of a 4-year and 5-month run with the promotion, but as his career shows, adversity has never been enough to keep him down for long. The MMA community's reaction to the news was immediate and heartfelt. Fighters, journalists, and fans took to social media to share messages of support and gratitude for Barnett's contributions to the sport. Middleweight fighter Bruce Xavier, known as the Red Wolf, captured the sentiment perfectly, tweeting, "My honest reaction to waking up and finding out the UFC has cut Chris Barnett. R.I.P. Sweet Prince, thanks for the memories." Sports broadcaster Ben Davis also weighed in, simply writing, "The UFC has officially cut Chris Barnett." Meanwhile, content creator Kevin broke the update in a more straightforward fashion, posting, "Roster update, Chris Barnett has been removed from the UFC roster." Fans were quick to rally behind Barnett, not only acknowledging his recent struggles, but also recalling the difficult years he's endured. One supporter posted, "Damn man, he lost his wife to cancer, then got cut from the UFC. Feel bad for him." Another highlighted the broader round of cuts, noting that Kiefer Crosby and Kurt Holobaugh were also released alongside Barnett, a reminder of how volatile life in the fight game can be. Barnett now enters free agency after 4 years and 5 months under the UFC banner. While his departure marks the end of one chapter, it's unlikely to be the end of his career. Whether it's in another major promotion like Bellator, the PFL, or even a return to the regional scene, fans know that wherever Barnett goes, entertainment will follow. More importantly, his ability to keep fighting, both inside and outside the cage, remains his defining trait. After all, Chris Barnett has faced far greater battles than any opponent could ever bring. And as his loyal fan base would agree, Beast Boy still has plenty of fight left in him. The landmark transition of UFC programming to Paramount Plus in January 2026 will come with the notable change for subscribers: a price increase for the streaming service. In a letter to investors, Paramount Skydance CEO David Ellison confirmed plans to implement price hikes in the US during the first quarter of 2026, though specific new pricing tiers have not yet been disclosed. This announcement comes as Paramount positions its streaming platform as the new premier destination for combat sports, anchored by its massive $7.7 billion 7-year deal with the UFC. The strategic move eliminates the traditional pay-per-view model that has long been a barrier for many fans, making all UFC events, including premium numbered cards, available exclusively through Paramount Plus subscriptions without additional costs. Our ongoing investments in Paramount Plus are enhancing the value we deliver to consumers, Ellison stated. To support this continued investment, we plan to implement price increases in the US early in the first quarter of 2026. These changes will fuel continued reinvestment in the user experience and deliver an even stronger slate of programming for our customers. The UFC partnership represents a cornerstone of Paramount's strategy to reduce subscriber churn and maintain consistent engagement throughout the year. During an earnings call, executives highlighted how the UFC's year-round programming schedule, without traditional off-seasons, makes it an ideal property to retain subscribers who might otherwise cancel during gaps in other sports calendars. This became particularly relevant after Paramount Plus experienced subscriber losses following the conclusion of the Masters golf tournament and before the NFL season began. Ellison emphasized the tremendous value proposition for combat sports fans, noting that the cost of an annual subscription to Paramount Plus being less than just one UFC pay-per-view event under prior distribution. This accessibility is expected to drive significant subscriber growth while providing combat sports enthusiasts unprecedented access to UFC content. The streaming service's combat sports portfolio will expand further with the addition of Zuffa Boxing, the new promotion led by UFC CEO Dana White and WWE President Nick Khan with Saudi Arabian backing. This combination solidifies Paramount Plus as a comprehensive home for fight sports, with Ellison calling the UFC the largest sport that is not basically split off across multiple platforms and a unicorn sports property. The price adjustment reflects Paramount's broader content investment strategy, which also includes major deals with the creators of South Park and Stranger Things. As the company strengthens its streaming offerings, the UFC partnership stands as a centerpiece initiative designed to attract and retain subscribers through consistent, high-value programming that combat sports fans previously accessed through much more expensive pay-per-view models.
That's an absolutely staggering display of functional strength from Islam Makhachev. Scoring 161 pounds on a hand grip strength test not only places him in a truly elite category, but also puts him ahead of one of the most physically imposing champions in the sport, Alex Pereira, who registered 159 pounds. To put both numbers in perspective, they dwarf the average male grip strength of approximately 103 pounds by over 50%. This metric is far more than just a fun fact. It offers a tangible insight into the crushing pressure Makhachev can apply in his grappling. That immense grip strength is a foundational element of his fighting style, allowing him to maintain unbreakable control on the ground, making it nearly impossible for opponents to break free from his holds. Execute his legendary choke sequences, where a powerful grip is the final decisive factor in securing a submission. Control the clinch and dictate where the fight takes place, wearing down opponents in the process. The fact that he even slightly surpasses Pereira, a fighter known for his knockout power and formidable physique, underscores the unique and terrifying physicality that Makhachev brings into the octagon. It's a stark reminder that his success is built not just on technical mastery, but on raw, overwhelming physical power.
In the wake of the controversial no-contest conclusion to Tom Aspinall's UFC 321 title defense against Cyril Gane, veteran referee Herb Dean has revealed that significant changes are coming to how eye pokes will be officiated in MMA, with stricter enforcement and earlier point deductions planned to combat the dangerous foul. During an appearance on the Believe You Me podcast, Dean acknowledged that the existing rule, which makes it a foul to extend the fingers towards the eyes, has been inconsistently enforced, leading to preventable injuries and fight-altering incidents. That rule has been there, but we haven't been enforcing it, Dean admitted. So we're going to move forward on that. The proposed shift represents a fundamental change in philosophy toward preventative officiating. Rather than waiting for an eye poke to cause damage before penalizing a fighter, referees will now be instructed to deduct points for the dangerous action itself, even if no contact is made. This right here is a dangerous foul and somebody's going to keep doing a dangerous action, Dean explained. We should start taking points by them doing that action before it actually happens to hurt somebody. Dean acknowledged the significant impact of point deductions in a sport where fights are often decided by narrow margins. The majority of 3-round fights, what's the score? 29-28. So you take 1 point, you've taken a majority of wins and turned it into a draw. But we're going to have to do something, so that's one of the things we've thought about that we're going to be doing. The veteran official also pointed to Sean Strickland as an example of proper hand positioning, despite the former champion's bad boy image. When Sean Strickland fights, he's my favorite when I see him come out with his fingers closed and he's parrying all around. I don't have to worry about the fingers. Dean said that highlighted effective defense doesn't require open-handed techniques that risk eye injuries. These changes come after years of criticism directed at the inconsistent enforcement of eye poke rules across MMA. The Aspinall-Barnett incident, which left the champion with compromised vision and unable to continue, appears to have served as a catalyst for long overdue reform. By adopting a more proactive approach to penalizing extended fingers before they cause damage, officials hope to create a safer competition environment while forcing fighters to develop better technical habits in their striking defense.
Even before stepping into the octagon for his welterweight debut, Islam Makhachev already has his sights set on a legacy-defining first title defense should he capture the 170-pound crown from Jack Della Maddalena at UFC 322. The former lightweight champion has identified former longtime welterweight king Kamaru Usman as his preferred opponent, setting the stage for a potential champion versus champion super fight that would pit two of the most dominant grapplers of their generation against one another. After Jack, I think Kamaru, Makhachev recently told Aiden Ross, bypassing several other top contenders in the stacked welterweight division. Kamaru Usman, he has the most title defenses at welterweight. Now he's in a good position. This call-out carries significant historical weight. Usman, who defended the welterweight title 5 times during his reign, represents the division's most accomplished active fighter, and a chance for Makhachev to add a legendary name to his resume. For Usman, who recently snapped a 3-fight losing streak with a dominant decision victory over Joaquin Buckley, this represents a potential shortcut back to championship contention. The 38-year-old Usman has been vocal about his desire for another title shot, though he's careful to frame it as something he's earned rather than deserves. Deserve is not a word that I like to use a lot. I don't like that word. No one deserves anything. I think it's what you've earned, and if the company feels that I've earned that shot, I've showed them I am still that guy. The potential matchup presents a fascinating stylistic clash between two fighters known for their wrestling dominance, but who have evolved into complete mixed martial artists. Makhachev's sambo background and relentless pressure would test Usman's legendary takedown defense, while Usman's improved striking and championship experience would provide the ultimate measuring stick for Makhachev's welterweight credentials. This proposed fight also creates an interesting dynamic in the crowded welterweight landscape where several other contenders are making their cases. Sean Brady faces Michael Morales on the UFC 322 undercard. Leon Edwards meets Carlos Vanfel in the co-main event, and Bilal Muhammad takes on Ian Gary in Qatar the following week. Yet Makhachev's focus on Usman suggests he's prioritizing legacy over convention, seeking the biggest possible challenge to validate his move up in weight. First, however, Makhachev must navigate the dangerous challenge presented by Della Maddalena, a natural welterweight with proven takedown defense and fight-ending power. Should he emerge victorious, a showdown with Usman would represent one of the most significant fights the UFC could make, a battle between two former champions looking to cement their places among the all-time greats.
The intense spotlight that comes with UFC fame has a dark side that flyweight contender Tracy Cortez knows all too well. In a revealing appearance on the Thinking with a Pump podcast, the 31-year-old fighter opened up about disturbing fan encounters that have escalated from awkward interactions to genuine safety concerns, ultimately forcing her to abandon her home. When asked about creep stories involving fans, Cortez responded immediately, all the time. She then detailed one particularly unsettling incident that occurred while she was dining with family at a cold beers and cheeseburgers restaurant. After politely agreeing to take a photo with a fan, the situation quickly turned uncomfortable when the individual remained standing by their table for over 45 minutes, inserting himself into family conversations, despite clear social cues that his presence was no longer welcome. We're all talking and he would butt in the conversation, and it was just awkward. It was so weird, Cortez recalled, describing the violation of her personal space and family time. More alarmingly, Cortez revealed that some fans had crossed an even more dangerous line by obtaining her home address. People have found my address, that's why I moved out. People started sending me mail at my house, and I'm just like, that's not okay. That's, especially being a girl and living alone, I was like, that's not okay. This violation of her privacy and sense of security ultimately compelled Cortez to relocate, a drastic measure that highlights the serious challenges female athletes face in navigating public recognition. While enthusiastic fan support is often considered a benefit of professional fighting, Cortez's experiences illustrate how quickly admiration can morph into obsession, creating genuine safety concerns that extend far beyond the octagon. As Cortez prepares for her upcoming UFC 322 bout against Erin Blanchfield on November 15th, these revelations underscore the often overlooked personal sacrifices and security challenges that fighters, particularly women, must navigate while competing in the public eye. Her story serves as a sobering reminder that the price of fame can sometimes include the loss of privacy and even personal safety, transforming what should be career highlights into periods of heightened vulnerability and stress.
Former UFC welterweight champion Kamaru Usman has staked his claim for a title shot, declaring his intention to challenge the winner of Saturday's UFC 322 main event between current champion Jack Della Maddalena and lightweight king Islam Makhachev. The Nigerian Nightmare, fresh off a victory over Joaquin Buckley that snapped a 3-fight skid, believes he has re-established himself as a legitimate threat to the welterweight throne. In an interview with MMA Junkie, Usman made his case clear, emphasizing that he's seeking the most significant challenges available as he navigates the latter stages of his career. "I'm in a position now to where I want the biggest, most challenging fights out there, because I understand that I don't have another 20 fights left in the company," Usman stated. "Anything could happen, so if you can get that next one and it could be that fight, then that's what I want." Usman's confidence stems from his performance against Buckley, which he believes silenced doubters questioning whether he remained among the division's elite. "A lot of people had a lot of questions. Can he still fight? Is he still this guy? Is he still this way? I hope I proved that to everyone." While acknowledging the UFC will ultimately make decisions based on what's best for business, Usman expressed hope that his body of work, including his dominant championship reign, would warrant the opportunity. He carefully avoided claiming he deserved the shot, instead framing it as something he believes he's earned through his career accomplishments and recent resurgence. "I think it's what you've earned, and if the company feels that I've earned that shot, I've showed them I am still that guy," Usman explained. "Hopefully, the win over Buckley is enough to show them that I'm ready to go back and sit on my rightful place, which is the top of the division, and go through these guys one by one again." The potential matchup presents intriguing stylistic challenges regardless of who emerges victorious at UFC 322. Against Della Maddalena, it would be a clash between the division's established old guard and its new striking phenom. Against Makhachev, it would represent a champion versus champion super fight, pitting Usman's wrestling pedigree against one of the most accomplished grapplers in MMA history. Usman's public campaign sets the stage for a compelling narrative in the welterweight division's immediate future, as one of the weight class's most dominant champions looks to complete his comeback story by reclaiming the belt he once held for nearly 3 years. Dan Hooker is bringing his trademark toughness and unconventional preparation to his upcoming main event clash with Arman Tsarukyan at UFC Qatar, though his training camp has taken a characteristically gritty turn, complete with dental damage and a long-lost blood-stained mouthguard rediscovered at the most inopportune moment. In a revealing interview with Combat TV, the lightweight veteran detailed his less-than-orthodox lead-up to one of the most important fights of his career. "Good. I got a bit sick last week, smashed my front tooth out," Hooker stated matter-of-factly when asked about his training camp. "I've got to go fix it tomorrow. I don't really give a shit, but the missus is not too happy about it." The story behind the dental damage only adds to Hooker's reputation as one of the sport's most rugged characters. He explained the almost poetic misfortune of finally locating his missing mouthguard, which had been absent since his 2022 fight against Mateusz Gamrot, only to suffer the tooth injury on the very same day. "I just found my mouthguard that day. So on Saturday, I hadn't found my mouthguard in a year," Hooker revealed. "It was covered in blood still from the Gamrot fight. So I just placed it up and was like, next time, mate, and then boom. So the day I find it is the day I smash my front tooth." Hooker's nonchalant attitude toward the injury typifies his approach to the fight game, though he noted this particular tooth was already artificial. "It's already dead, it's a fake front tooth. They just put more shit on it, I guess." While Hooker prepares in his characteristically rugged fashion, fellow lightweight contender Beneil Dariush, who lost to Tsarukyan in 2023, provided a technical breakdown of the matchup that acknowledges both fighters' strengths. "Yes, I do think he beats Dan Hooker, and I think he could do it very dominantly. But a 5-round fight, I've got to tell you, man, Dan Hooker is a dog." Dariush highlighted the critical factor of endurance in the scheduled 5-round affair, suggesting Hooker's resilience could prove decisive if he can extend the fight. He doesn't have to win the first 2 rounds, but if he just does well in the first 2 rounds, that will be a really interesting fight. What I mean by well is keeping the fight close and making Arman work. The 5 rounds will be really interesting to watch, so I think that'll be a really fun fight to watch. The matchup presents a classic style clash between Tsarukyan's explosive wrestling and pressure against Hooker's durability, length, and finishing ability. As Hooker himself demonstrated with his dental story, he's willing to embrace the messy, unpredictable nature of combat sports, a mentality that could serve him well against one of the division's most technically proficient rising contenders.
Bantamweight champion Merab Dvalishvili has clarified his position on a potential super fight with featherweight king Alexander Volkanovski, expressing both deep respect for the Australian legend and a professional willingness to accept the challenge should the UFC formally offer it. As he prepares for his record-breaking 4th title defense this year against Pereira at UFC 323, the Georgian champion finds himself in the unique position of having nearly cleared out his division twice, naturally sparking conversations about legacy-defining matchups at 145 pounds. In a conversation with Bloody Elbow during his duties as a steak ambassador, Dvalishvili carefully distinguished between actively calling for the fight and being prepared to accept it. "Look, I don't want to challenge him because I have so much respect for the great champion Alex Volkanovski," Dvalishvili explained. "I just want to focus on my weight class, and I don't want to be disrespectful by challenging or mentioning his name." This stance reflects Dvalishvili's characteristic humility, even as he dominates his own division with unprecedented activity. However, the champion made it clear that his respect wouldn't translate to refusal if the promotion sees value in the champion versus champion matchup. "If it becomes a thing where the UFC asks me to do this fight, listen, I'm a fighter, I will show up and I will fight," he stated. "Usually, UFC sends me a contract, you fight this guy, and boom, that's it. So if you ask me, I don't want to challenge him or call him out, but if they want it, then I am ready for it." Dvalishvili was careful to differentiate his position from Tom Aspinall's recent controversial comments about potentially vacating the heavyweight title to avoid fighting training partner Ante Delija. Where Aspinall suggested he might relinquish his belt, Dvalishvili emphasized he would never turn down a fight the UFC presented.
The conversation naturally turned to how a move to featherweight would impact Dvalishvili's legendary pace. The bantamweight champion, who could break the record for most title defenses in a single calendar year, revealed that the grueling 22-pound weight cut to 135 pounds is the primary factor limiting his activity, not the physical toll of fighting itself. "Featherweight? I could fight every 2 weeks," Dvalishvili quipped, only half joking. "I just need 1 day to make 145 pounds. The weight cut is most difficult because I cut 22 pounds every time I fight now." He elaborated on the psychological and physical burden of his current cuts, noting that at featherweight, where he'd only need to shed around 10 pounds, his already remarkable activity level could become truly historic. "This is the hardest part of the fight to get ready for mentally and physically," he admitted, expressing awe at how smaller fighters manage even more drastic cuts. As Dvalishvili continues his march through the bantamweight division, the possibility of a Volkanovski superfight looms as perhaps the most intriguing challenge remaining, a matchup that would not only test his skills, but his capacity to maintain his relentless pace against one of the most accomplished champions in UFC history.